Hey everyone, Danielle here with our week 4 video and the Getting Started guide. This week it's all about stamps, so I'm going to share with you my favorite stamps, favorite companies, as well as my favorite tools to use when I'm working with my stamps. First up is a company that I absolutely love, and that's Lawn Fawn. And they make clear photopolymer stamps. And if you're getting clear stamps, definitely look for a photopolymer, not an acrylic. Here's one of my absolute favorite sets by them, and it's called Say Cheese. I love the camera and the sentiments, but what I actually really love about this set is the little Polaroid. It's perfect for creating a scene if you're stamping, or even better, you can actually use it for scrapbooking by trimming an actual photo and popping it right on there and then adding it to your layout. Next up is one of their font sets, and this is called Smitty's ABCs, one of my absolute favorites. I use it all the time. I think I like it so much because it is very simple. It's almost like a typewriter feel to it, and I found myself reaching for it over and over again, and it's super easy to use to create your own sentiments. They have plenty of other font scents, but that's just my favorite right now. This is called Bon Voyage, and the reason I like this so much is actually because of the clouds. I love to stamp with them, and I love to paper piece them. The airplane is cute too, and I like the sentiment and everything else, but I do love those clouds. This is called Critters in the Forest. Lawn Fawn has a whole series of Critters stamp sets. They have Critters in the Burbs, Critters in the Sea, all sorts of really cute little critters, but my favorite right now is the Critters in the Forest. I love the owl and the fox. I use the tree over and over again. Definitely one of my favorite sets to reach for over and over. I also love this font set, and this is called Quinn's ABCs, and as you can see, it's a much larger typeset, and I love it because you can stamp the letters and color them in. You can stamp them, cut them out, and paper piece them. It's just really great to use for a variety of reasons. Because it is larger, it's also great for scrapbooking. This is one of their first sets. It's called Just My Type, and it's also one of my favorites. One of the first stamp sets I ever bought. I love the vintage feel of the typewriter and the telephone. I like the sentiments, especially like the handwriting feel that some of them have. Super cute. One of my favorite flower sets of all times is Judy's Blooms. I like how they have the 3 different sizes. I love how I can paper piece and you can just layer the big one by itself, or you can take the smaller ones and stack them up. You can color these in, you can use pattern paper. They're just really versatile, so I reach for them a lot. You absolutely need this. It is called Sophie's Sentiments, and it's one of the greatest everyday sentiment sets you could have. They cover everything from wedding to love, congratulations, anniversary, birthday, good luck, thank you. Everything is on here. They're super simple, great to add a little sentiment to whatever card you're working on. And last but not least, one of my favorite background sets. This is called Teeny Tiny Backdrops. It has 3 different background stamps, the little hearts, music notes, and stars. They're really tiny, so it's nice to add a little bit of background. It's not one of those huge, like a huge background stamp. So great to add just a little touch. The next company I'm going to share with you, another one of my favorites, Hero Arts. They make 3 different kinds of stamps, really, I'll say. They do wood mounted, so it'll look like this, red rubber on a wood block. And they also do unmounted red rubber stamps as well as the clear photopolymer. So I'm just going to share with you a bunch of my favorites. Wood grain background I use all the time, and that's one of their wood mounted red rubber stamps. Envelope pattern background is definitely a must-have. I know it's a favorite for so many different people. It's also nice because they're so big, they actually fit the whole front of a card. So you're not stamping over and over and over again. And next up would be their Clouds background stamp. Same, it's a wood mounted red rubber. And I do love these big wood block ones just because it is really easy to stamp a whole background at once. Next up, if you know me, you know I love butterflies. So this is the Artist Butterfly by Hero Arts, another rubber wood mounted stamp. It's great for coloring or paper piecing. You can layer the wings. Here's another favorite of my butterflies. These are called butterflies. These are the unmounted rubber stamps, so you would use an acrylic block with those. Great for coloring and paper piecing again. And then they have a whole lot of other background stamps that I really, really love, so I'll show you a few. This is a new one. It's the zigzag background. It's a red rubber cling stamp. This is called, I believe it's called Flourish. Nice, simple. This is called Flower Dot. It's one of my favorites. It's kind of hard to see because it doesn't have the image on the back, but it's almost like a, kind of has a paisley feel to it. Definitely one of my favorites. I'll link to it below so you can see the image and click on it if you really want to see what it looks like, but a great background stamp. Another one that's really popular among everyone is this magical background. I use it all the time, over and over again. It's great for any variety of occasions. And then here are a few of their photopolymer stamps. This one's called Right at Home. I love the house. I love to paper piece it or color it. The cloud's cute. A lot of great sentiments. This is another one of my favorite sets from them. This is also new from their catalog. Great everyday sentiments you can use over and over again. Birthday, thinking of you, love you, thank you. Another one of my favorite sets for flowers is the layered flowers. So you can, stamp them and use it on its own. You can color them, paper piece, and stack them up. Great for so many reasons. Another company I really like, I don't use them that often, but I do love their stamps, and that's Denami Designs, and they make only the rubber wood-mounted stamps. And so this is one of my absolute favorite flowers. It's their water lily. You can stamp it by itself, or what I like to do sometimes is stamp several of them and then arrange them kind of into a larger flower shape with a button in the center. And then these are their petite fours, so super cute. I think I love these stamps so much because they are just very clean and simple and just fit well with my style. The other great thing about these three companies, Denami, Hero Arts, and Lawn Fawn, is they have excellent customer service, which is so important when you're spending money and investing in this hobby. Now this is by Technique Tuesday. This is an Allie Edwards set called Favorite Memories, and I just recently got into, the whole Allie Edwards thing. I love her stamps. I love her handwriting, just like everybody else. These are great for cards, but they're also really great for scrapbooking because they do have the larger sentiments. And they fit really well, just like the sentiments and phrasing pairs really nicely with photographs. So I definitely would recommend them. I only have one set right now, but I'm definitely going to be picking up a few more. And these are clear stamps as well. So that's Technique Tuesday, Allie Edwards Everyday, or Favorite Memories stamp set. Now next, I'm going to show you a couple of the tools that I think that you should definitely invest in. Most of them are really inexpensive, but they're going to make your stamping and card making and scrapbooking just a whole lot easier. And so the first thing I'm going to show you, if you're using the unmounted rubber stamps or those clear photopolymer cling stamps, you're going to need to use some acrylic blocks. And so they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. This is a really big one I have. I prefer to get the acrylic blocks that have the grid lines. It just makes life a lot easier for me to line things up, because for whatever reason my eyes must be crooked, because when I try and line things up on my own it never works. So I like the ones with the grid lines just to keep everything straight and centered. You can also get them without grid lines. You can get them in all different shapes and sizes. This is one that's clear that has no grid lines on it, which you can certainly use. Pretend that you don't see how dirty it is. I'm really bad at keeping my blocks clean. I probably clean them once a month, and I should really do it more often, but just pretend that you didn't see that. Next up is it's called a stamp press, and it's by Fiskars, and it's this clear plastic. It has a little grid in the middle of it, so you can line things up real nice, and it just presses down super easy like this. It actually has these little orange foam feet on the bottom. That's how you push it down. And I use this all the time for my larger cling backgrounds. So you just put your background down, press the plastic stamp press, and it'll pick it up, and then you can ink up your stamp. Lay your paper down, pretend like I have ink on there, line it up, and then press it down. It's super great. It makes it a lot easier when you're using these really large stamps. But you don't have to use it just for the large stamps. You can also use it for your smaller clear stamps. I use it a lot for these big background stamps though, just so I make sure I can get a nice even stamped image. It's easier than using one of those big acrylic blocks. For whatever reason, at least for me, I like using the stamp press for those big background stamps. And it's relatively inexpensive. I think it's like $10 or $12, so definitely worth the investment. Makes life a little bit easier. Next up is the Stamp-A-Majig, and this is really great if you're going to be using, what am I trying to say? The wood-mounted rubber stamps like this one from Denami. So if you're like me, you might have trouble actually using this and lining it up exactly where you want it on your card or scrapbook page. It's really easy for me to use clear stamps because I can see exactly where the image is going to land, but for whatever reason I have trouble, even though it has the image on the wood block, I just have trouble getting a really nice placement, and so that's where the Stamp-A-Majig comes in really handy. So it's super simple to use. It comes with two pieces, the Stamp-A-Majig itself, which is kind of this blue teal piece, and this frosted piece of plastic. There's a smooth side and then there's a rough side, and so it's super easy to use. You're just going to take your Stamp-A-Majig and the actual piece of kind of plastic paper, and you're going to line it up right in the corner there. It fits perfectly. You don't really have to do anything. And then you're going to ink up whatever stamp it is you want to use, and you're going to just slide it right down in the corner there and stamp it onto the clear piece of paper. And because it is shiny and plastic, it might smear a little bit, but that doesn't matter because you're not putting it on your paper. So the next step, you figure out wherever you want to place it. So if I wanted to, place it perfectly centered in on my card front, I would just put the image where I wanted it, position my Stamp-A-Majig, pull out the paper, ink up my stamp again, slide it in the corner, and stamp. And ta-da, it ends up exactly where I wanted it. So it's really nice if you're, working around a sentiment and you want to make sure you don't overlap anything, or if you have a big image and you, want to do some masking or stamp around it. It's super handy to have, not only for those red rubber wood-mounted stamps, but also just even with your clear stamps if you're trying to get a really precise placement. The nice thing too is that it's super easy to clean. I just use my baby wipes. You can probably use, spritz of water or a wet paper towel. It just wipes right off, and then, you're ready to use it again. And even though I'm horrible at using these things, you definitely need to have them. One is you're going to need a stamp scrubber. And so this is the one I have. It's by Ranger, and forgive the white. I just was stamping with white ink, so I have white all over here. But it's kind of like Brillo pad texture, I'll say, and the cleaner that I use all the time is Ultra Clean. I've tried a lot of other cleaners, and this is the one that I recommend above any others. I use it for my regular dye inks, I use it for pigment inks, I use it for StazOn. It works for everything. It's just a really great all-around cleaner. And even though I'm terrible at cleaning my stamps, you really should do it just to help preserve the life of them. My blocks also get really cruddy, and I use it for them to wipe them down. I find that I don't get as nice. I know some people just use soap and water, but it doesn't really work for me. I prefer to use this Ultra Clean. And you get a little bottle like this, I don't know, it's a couple ounces, but it lasts a really long time and it's really inexpensive, so you definitely want to invest in a good cleaner and a stamp scrubber. And then really quickly, I just want to show you how to actually use an acrylic block. So if you've only been using, say, the wood-mounted stamps, and you're not familiar with the clear photopolymer stamps and the acrylic blocks, I'm just going to show you real quick. You just take your acrylic block, which is just that, an acrylic plastic clear block. I usually put my stamp down on my craft mat, and then you just press down with the block and it'll pick it up, and the stamp clings right to it. So your clear photopolymer stamps are going to work that way, as well as your unmounted red rubber stamps. They'll do the same thing. So that's going to do it for week 4. Hopefully you learned a little something. If you have any questions, as usual, let me know. And I'm excited for next week because we're going to talk about inks. So if you have any questions ahead of time, let me know so I can go over it in the video. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.